1953, a kitchen in Ohio, Friday night, and the linoleum is cool underfoot. A single bulb hangs above the sink. A mother pours warm water from a chipped enamel pitcher over her daughter's hair at the sink. No shampoo bottle on the counter. Just a bar of ivory soap and a glass bottle of Heinz vinegar. The girl's hair shines like riverstone. She washes it once a week and it has never looked better. These are 20 hair tricks that were standard practice in American homes for the better part of the 20th century. Every one of them worked and most of them cost pennies. You will not want to miss what is coming next. Number 20. The once. A week wash. Women washed their hair once a week. Some washed every 2 weeks. That was considered normal, even recommended by the experts of the day. Friday night was bath night in most American homes. Hair washing happened then to make efficient use of the hot water. A bar of ivory soap or a small bottle of Prel. Procter & Gamble introduced Prel in 1947, 35 cents a bottle. The lather was worked through once, rinsed in warm water, then a cool final rinse. You ran your fingers through, and if the hair squeaked, you knew it was clean. No second lather, no repeat. Done. Hair that trained itself to produce less oil, hair that held a set for 7 full days. Then the shampoo companies figured something out. Their synthetic detergent stripped hair of its natural oils, so the scalp fought back and produced even more. A vicious circle was born, and it made the shampoo industry very happy. They created the idea of daily washing, and then they sold products to fix the damage daily washing caused. No poo is a modern name for an old habit. Today, an entire online community calls itself the No Poo movement. Women washing less, using fewer products, reporting healthier hair. They think they discovered something new. Your grandmother was doing it in 1952, but if she only washed once a week, how did she keep her hair styled between washes? The answer started at the kitchen stove with a torn bedsheet and a little girl sitting on a wooden chair. Number 19. Rag curls. For girls, mothers tore old cotton bed sheets or flour sacks into strips. They wrapped sections of damp hair around each strip and tied them off. Girls slept in them. By morning, perfect curls. No cost, 0 torn strips from a worn-out pillowcase or a feed sack bleached white. Each section wound around the rag, rolled tight to the scalp, ends tied in a small knot. Softer than pin curls, comfortable enough for a child to sleep through the night. The smell of clean cotton and damp hair on a pillowcase. The slight tug when you turned over at midnight. Mother untying each one at dawn. The ribbons of hair that tumbled down in long spirals, bouncing curls for Easter Sunday, for the first day of school, for picture day at the elementary. The curls started with mother's hands on a Saturday night. That is a technology no company has ever improved upon. Number 18. The chamomile tea rinse. For blondes fair. Haired women brewed strong chamomile tea, let it cool, and poured it through their hair as a final rinse. It brightened blonde and light brown hair naturally. A handful of dried chamomile flowers from the pharmacy, 10 cents, boiled for 10 minutes in a small saucepan, strained through cheesecloth into a mason jar, then poured slowly over clean hair at the kitchen sink. It was not rinsed out. The faint smell of apples and honey settled into the strands. Each wash made the hair a shade lighter, a shade warmer. No peroxide, no foil highlights, just a flower that grew in the garden, a saucepan, and patience. The salon highlight she is paying $85 for every 6 weeks is doing what a tea kettle did in 1954. Number 17. Sugar water setting lotion. Women dissolved white sugar in boiled water, let it cool, and used it as setting lotion for pin curls and rollers. 2 teaspoons of white granulated sugar mixed into 8 ounces of boiled water, poured into a glass bottle and kept on the vanity. Sometimes a few drops of perfume oil were stirred in, applied with the fingertips to sections of hair before rolling. It held a curl like concrete, the way the curls stayed put through a humid Saturday afternoon, a church picnic in the park, a dance at the Elks Lodge on a warm evening. 5 cents worth of sugar from the kitchen canister. It outperformed every $40 bottle of styling product on the shelf today. Nobody could sell sugar water, that was the problem. Number 16. The cornstarch dry shampoo. Between weekly washes, women sprinkled cornstarch or baby powder at the roots. They worked it in with their fingers and then brushed it out for an instant refresh. Argo cornstarch from the kitchen shelf or Johnson's baby powder at 15 cents a tin. A light dusting along the part line at the temples. Behind the ears left to sit 2 minutes. Then the boar bristle brush pulling from roots to ends, drawing the powder and the oil out together. Hair that was flat and limp at breakfast, full and clean by 9 o'clock. The faint cloud of white powder in the morning light. The beauty industry repackaged the same idea in an aerosol can and now sells it for $12. The dry shampoo market alone is worth over $3 billion globally. The ingredient did not change. The price did. 5 tricks in and not one of them required a trip to the store. Every ingredient was already in the kitchen. Sugar, cornstarch, chamomile, a torn bedsheet. The bathroom did not become a woman's laboratory. The kitchen was. And the kitchen did not charge admission. Number 15. The gelatin rinse for strength and shine. Women dissolved unflavored Knox gelatin in warm water and poured it through their hair after shampooing. They left it in. They did not rinse it out. It coated each strand in protein. Knox gelatin came in the red box, 10 cents a packet. 1 teaspoon dissolved in a cup of boiled water, poured through freshly washed hair over the sink. The hair felt thicker while still wet. By the time it dried, each strand had a coating of pure animal protein keratin. The same ingredient is now sold in salon keratin treatments that cost $40 or more. Less breakage, more body, a shine like glass. She bought Knox gelatin in the baking aisle at the I&P half the box. Made a gel mold for Sunday dinner. The other half went on her hair. Total cost, a dime. Number 14. The egg shampoo. Women beat raw eggs and worked them through their hair instead of shampoo. They rinsed with cool water. The egg cleaned the hair and conditioned it at the same time. 2 eggs from the icebox, beaten in a teacup, were rubbed well into the hair and scalp and left to sit, then rinsed out with lukewarm water. Never hot water or the egg would cook into the strands. The lecithin in the yolk acted as a natural emulsifier. Hair felt like silk afterward. It was heavy, clean, and impossibly soft. No sulfates, no stripping. The egg cost 3 cents in 1952. It did not need a label or a marketing campaign. It worked because it contained the same proteins her hair was made of. That is not folk wisdom, that is chemistry. Number 13. The mayonnaise conditioner. A thick layer of Hellmann's mayonnaise was worked through the hair. She wrapped her head in a warm towel, left it on for 20 minutes, then rinsed and shampooed. Hellmann's real mayonnaise cost 39 cents a jar in 1955. A generous scoop was worked through the mid-lengths and ends. The egg and oil in the mayonnaise were the same ingredients used in salon protein treatments today. She wrapped her head in a warm, damp towel to open the cuticle, and she sat in the kitchen reading Good Housekeeping for half an hour. When she rinsed, the vinegar and the mayo sealed the cuticle flat, leaving hair that moved like water when she turned her head. The jar sat next to the mustard in the icebox. She used it for sandwiches and for her hair, and she felt no contradiction in that. Number 12. The rosemary water rinse for growth. Women simmered fresh or dried rosemary in water, strained it, cooled it, and used it as a final rinse. It stimulated growth and darkened the hair naturally over time. A sprig of rosemary from the garden, or a small jar from the spice rack, simmered 20 minutes in a covered saucepan, then strained through cheesecloth. A dark amber liquid, warm and fragrant, poured slowly over the scalp and massaged in with the fingertips. It was not rinsed out. Modern peer-reviewed studies have now confirmed what grandmothers already knew. Rosemary oil has been shown to be as effective as minoxidil for promoting hair regrowth. Last year, rosemary water went viral on social media as if someone had just discovered it. Millions of young women filmed themselves pouring herb water over their hair. They had no idea their grandmothers were doing this 70 years ago. She grew rosemary in a clay pot on the windowsill. It cost her nothing but sunlight and water. The industry now sells rosemary oil for $28 an ounce. Number 11. The beer rinse for body and shine. Flat beer poured through the hair after washing, not rinsed out. It gave volume and body and a shine that no mousse or volumizing spray has ever equaled. Pabst Blue Ribbon Schlitz, a can left open on the counter overnight to go flat. The B vitamins and proteins in the malt and hops coated each individual strand, poured through wet hair over the kitchen sink. The yeasty smell faded as the hair dried. What remained was weight, movement, and a shine that caught the light like polished wood. A can of beer cost 15 cents, so effective that professional stylists still whisper about it today. So cheap that nobody could put it in a box and sell it. Every one of these treatments came from the same place. The kitchen, eggs, mayonnaise, beer, rosemary, gelatin. These women did not separate their lives into categories the way we do now. There was no wall between nourishment and beauty. That wall was built later by people who had something to sell. Number 10. The lemon juice brightener. Fresh lemon juice diluted in water and combed through the hair before sitting in the sun. Natural golden highlights that looked like they had always been there. Girls sat on the porch steps in July with lemon juice combed through their hair. By the time the streetlights came on, their hair had streaks of gold that seemed born in. The citric acid was the same active ingredient that now costs $65 in a laboratory bottle with a dropper. The lemon cost a nickel. A half-cut lemon, a glass of water, and a wide-toothed comb. The scent of citrus and summer heat on bare shoulders. Nobody called it a chemical treatment. They called it sitting in the sun with lemon juice. Number 9. Finger waves with a comb and water. The finger wave involved pinching the hair between the fingers and combing it in alternating directions to create an S-shaped wave. No heat, no iron, just wet hair, a comb, and practiced hands. A rat-tail comb. A glass of water. Aluminum wave clamps that crimped the ridges into place. While the hair dried, the waves were pressed and shaped one careful section at a time, each curve sculpted by hand. The quiet click of the metal clamps, the patience of sitting completely still while the hair dried. Women who could produce waves that looked like they belonged on a Hollywood screen using nothing but their own 2 hands and a 5-cent comb. The skill lived in the fingers. You could not buy it in any store. You had to learn it from your mother, from your aunt, from the woman next door who always looked like she had just stepped out of the beauty parlor. Number 8. The silk scarf sleep wrap every night before bed. Women wrapped their hair in a silk or satin scarf to protect the style while they slept. The curls held, the waves stayed. She woke up nearly ready. A square of silk or satin folded into a triangle, placed over the set curls, tied at the nape or under the chin. The soft sound of silk sliding against the cotton pillowcase. In the morning, one gentle removal and a few strokes with a brush. The style lasted 3 or 4 days, because the scarf held everything in place through the night. Not an $80 silk bonnet from an Instagram advertisement. A scarf from the notions counter at Woolworth's 25 cents. The scarf was not vanity. It was respect for the hours she had spent setting her hair, and for the woman who would face the world in the morning. Number 7. The roller set hair dryers in the 1950s were mainly found in beauty shops, so women wound their hair in brush rollers every night before bed. Finding a comfortable sleeping position while wearing them was an art form, all its own. Brush rollers, magnetic rollers, the particular discomfort of rolling onto a hard roller at 2 o'clock in the morning. You learned to sleep on your stomach with your head turned just so. Jumbo rollers at the crown for volume, small rollers at the temples for tight curls. When beehive hairdos were all the rage, girls with stick straight hair used rinsed out cans of frozen orange juice concentrate with both ends cut away as makeshift jumbo rollers. A husband's first sight of his new wife in a full head of rollers, a rite of passage the movies never showed. She endured that discomfort every single night for the sake of looking right every morning. She did not think of it as brave. She thought of it as getting dressed. Number 6. The Tony Home Permanent A Box Perm Kit that let women give themselves or their daughters a permanent wave right at the kitchen table. No salon visit required. Many young girls of the 1950s dreaded certain times of year. Back to school, Easter. That meant mom had decided it was time to give you a Tony. One woman remembered being 8 years old in 1950. Her classmates were appearing in school looking pretty with their new curls. Mom combed out the hair as Grandma read the perm directions aloud. Thin slivers wrapped in tissue paper, tightly rolled around very small rods all over the head. The stinging chemical smell of the waving solution filling the kitchen end papers. A timer ticking on the counter. The solution dripping down the back of your neck. You held still. You did not complain. Which twin has the Tony? A $2 box and an afternoon in the kitchen gave a woman what used to require a $5 salon visit. Self-reliance smelled like ammonia, and the curls were there in the morning. There is something worth noticing about these tricks. Almost every one of them required a woman to stop moving. to sit still, to wait. The egg sat in the hair for 15 minutes. The rollers stayed in all night. The chamomile had to cool. The mayonnaise needed half an hour under a towel. These rituals forced rest into the day. They built patience into the routine. That was not a flaw. That was the design. The best beauty routines of that era doubled as the only break a woman ever got. That was not an accident. That was wisdom. Number 5. The apple cider vinegar final rinse after shampooing. Women poured a cup of water mixed with a splash of apple cider vinegar over their hair as a final rinse. They did not wash it out. Heinz apple cider vinegar, 23 cents a bottle in 1954. 1 tablespoon stirred into a cup of warm water. The vinegar sealed the cuticle flat. Light bounced off the surface like it was hitting glass. The smell faded in minutes. The shine lasted all week. Her hair looked better at 60 than hair washed daily with $40 worth of product looks at 30. Nobody could patent vinegar, and that was the real problem. Number 4. The back combing and teasing technique. Women held a section of hair straight up and pushed a fine-tooth comb backward from ends to roots. This created a cushion of volume at the base. Then they smoothed the top layer over it for lift that lasted all day. A rat tail comb from the dime store, 10 cents. She held a section up from the crown. 3 quick strokes downward toward the scalp. The hair compacted into a soft nest at the root, volume from nothing. A second section draped over the top and smoothed with a brush. Aquanet hairspray applied from 6 in away in one short burst. The soft hiss of the aerosol hair that held its height through a day of errands, a pot roast dinner, and an evening at the drive. In volume was not a product, it was a technique. 10 seconds with a comb that a girl learned watching her mother at the mirror. It did not come in a bottle, it came from the wrist. Number 3. 100 brush strokes before bed. The standard advice of the era was plain. Brush your hair 100 strokes a day. Most women did it at the vanity before bed, counting under their breath. A natural boar bristle brush. Not nylon, not plastic. A kind with a wooden handle and real bristles. The bristles pulled the scalp's natural oils from root to tip, distributing them the full length of the hair. The daughter sat on the edge of the bed watching her mother count. 57, 58. The hair developed a sheen that no silicone serum has ever come close to matching. 100 strokes is not a beauty tip. It is 10 minutes of stillness at the end of a long day. The brush was an excuse to sit down, to breathe, to do one slow thing in a world that had not yet learned to rush. The grandmother passed the brush down when the handle wore smooth. The daughter picked it up and kept counting. Number 2. The bobby pin curl separation after curling. Whether by pin curls, rollers, or rags, women used a single bobby pin to separate each individual curl. No comb, no brush. Just one pin drawn carefully through each curl to define and separate. A DeLong bobby pin from the tin on the vanity. The sharp end drawn through a freshly brushed-out curl. Each ringlet separated gently from the mass. The curls opened, fanned, and fell perfectly into place. Steady hand, eyes focused. The difference between a mass of frizzy curls and a finished hairstyle was one bobby pin and the patience to use it. No diffuser attachment, no curl-defining cream at $14 a tube. It required something no product can ever replace: skill, passed from one woman's hand to another in the quiet minutes before the rest of the house woke up. Number 1. Pin curls set every single night. Women wrapped sections of damp hair around their fingers, coiled them flat against the scalp, and pinned each one in place before bed. They slept in them. By morning, the curls were set. Nightly practice made those curls last. A box of DeLong bobby pins, a spray bottle of water, maybe a nickel's worth of sugar water setting lotion. Each section wound around the index finger, coiled tight, pressed flat against the scalp, and pinned with 2 crossed bobby pins. With practice, it took 7 minutes each night and 5 minutes to style each morning. A silk scarf tied over the whole arrangement, the soft click of metal pins on the porcelain dish when she removed them at dawn, hair that held its shape for a full week. No cord, no plug, no $90 curling iron. Just a woman's hands and the patience to do something right before she turned out the light. The average American woman now spends over $200 a year on heat styling tools alone. Her grandmother spent $2 a year on bobby pins and got better curls. But it is not the cost that matters most. It is the ritual. A woman alone at the vanity in the quiet after the children were in bed, winding her hair around her finger, one curl at a time. It was the last thing she did before the light went out, and it was the first thing her daughter remembered when she grew old. 20 tricks. Not one of them needed an internet connection, a beauty influencer, or a credit card. They needed bobby pins, a comb, a lemon, and the belief that a woman already had everything she needed. Most of it was already in her kitchen. These women were not behind. They were ahead. They solved every problem we are now paying $100 a month to solve. And they did it before the children woke up. And somewhere right now, a girl is sitting on the edge of a bathtub watching her grandmother wind a pin curl. The bobby pin slides in, the scarf goes on, and without a single word, the lesson begins again. If these stories of forgotten beauty and household wisdom have changed the way you look at the simple items in your kitchen, please subscribe and like this video. We are dedicated to uncovering the history and the practical secrets that the modern world has tried to bury. Let's preserve the wisdom of the past to build a more self-reliant future. Our next exploration into the treasures of history will begin very soon.